Hey guys, came from 15, joined by my Uncle Darrell, and we're back on Came from 15 Talk Sports. And like I said yesterday, if you watched my Roquan Smith trade video where I gave my initial thoughts and my reactionary thoughts of the trade, I did say that we would come back today. I'm discussing pretty much not only, I guess, a little bit about this trade, but where the future of the Bears could really ultimately be headed because it seems like Ryan Poles is making his set vision, and it doesn't matter if it's at the expense of certain fan favorite players or really good players of, let's be honest, regimes. But he wants to build his team his way, and he felt like this is the best way to build the team. Look, I said it in my Roquan Smith video yesterday. I really do believe this relationship between Ryan Poles and Roquan Smith. It's soured if you go back to the offseason in the during the Bears Fan Fest when Roquan Smith leaked out all that information to Ian Rappaport, which again, I think is this whole thing of their contract discussion of, okay, let's just keep this in house. Let's not try to let anybody know about this. But Roquan, he did what some other players do. And for example, Debo Samuel did that and he got his deal. So he probably was fed up that he wasn't getting a contract. He leaks out that information, pretty much defaming Ryan Poles, saying that he's doing things in bad faith, pretty much asking Ryan Poles' boss, the McCaskies, to do something about it. And like I said, you go watch that press conference. He did not sound very happy. He sounded like he understands where Roquan's coming from, but at the end of the day, he wasn't happy. I know there's mixed results, mixed like opinions on this. Some Bear fans absolutely hate this. Some Bear fans absolutely like it. It's funny because Brian Urlacher, he comes out on the radio and says, like, why would the Bears do that? Yada, yada, yada. It's simple, Urlacher. They're actually trying to do something that you never had in your entire career, build an offense, because it's easier to build a defense than build an offense. But that's what I said. That was kind of a skim of what I said yesterday, but I'll turn over to my uncle to give his thoughts.
I pretty much agree. Well, first of all, let me just go ahead and say I loved it because one thing that polls is valuing more so than any player or any person or any fan is the value of a rookie contract. And right now, Smith is in the last year of what is to be his rookie contract at $5 million. He came into the season wanting 20 million. Poles was like, hell no, you ain't getting that. And I'm assuming, I'm not privy to all the other inside conversations, that Smith didn't like that either. So Smith made some decisions. He made some bad ones, one of which was not getting an agent. That was huge. Players, he got too emotionally invested, and he did not have a representative to go to the Bears and say, hey man, let's try to smooth things over. He wants to stay here, and things like that. He didn't do anything that represented himself as a person who wanted to be with Chicago. But the picks he get, I mean, we just next year we got 9 picks.
Yeah.
9 picks and almost $130 million in cap. Now, who's going to sit up here and say that Ryan Poles did not do his job as GM? It ain't going to be me.
Yeah.
He's getting rid of bad contracts. He's not signing bad contracts, and he's pretty much accumulating draft capital so he can create better contracts and then use the cap money to be able to sign viable free agents to fill the holes that he plans to fill after he drafts these players. So to me, it's a simple rebuilding process for me. I mean, I don't have a problem with the trade. Let's get rid of them bad contracts. The Bears historically, if they've done one thing, is that they have signed bad contracts. Case in point, Robert Quinn was a bad contract. Khalil Mack was a bad contract. We love Khalil Mack, but he did not perform to the contract he was given. Robert Quinn, with the exception of last year, did not perform to the contract he was given.
Yeah,
Now, if he would have had, 15 plus sack seasons in the first 3 years of that contract, then I'd be like, dude, what the hell are y'all doing? But unfortunately, and granted, we love Roquan. We love Roquan, but here's my thing with Roquan. That Dallas game should have told you everything you needed to know about Roquan Smith's ability to lead a defense. Robert Quinn was gone. Robert Quinn, believe it or not, might have been a safety gap for the players on that defense. Robert Quinn might have been the one who was actually calling the defensive signals for all I know. But when Roquan Smith had an opportunity to show he can lead a defense, he led a defense all right by giving up 49 points. At that particular moment, Poe's like, okay, no, I can't do this, dude. I can't do this, dude. Whether he had a bad game or he just didn't play up to snuff, or whether to me, it does not matter. That Robert Quinn trade affected him in a manner that he was lost mentally, spiritually, and physically in the city of Chicago. And yes, he had to go.
Yeah. The thing with the fans' points, it's like, well, let's be honest, he probably was not going to re-sign here next year
No,
anyways. You
not for
already
20 million.
Yeah,
No,
with the fact that the GM felt his own way, and he felt his own way, he would have went another direction anyways. Left in free agency, he would have not gotten anything in
correct.
return for his services.
Correct.
So yes, does it suck that maybe he's gone because he's a good he's one of the highest, if not the team leader in tackles? Yes, but hey, if you can't come to an agreement on a contract, well, then either you piss him off by giving him the franchise tag, or you just do your due diligence and just say, okay, here, we may not see eye to eye, but I'll do the due diligence in trading you away to a good team.
Correct.
To show off your skills. Because again, this goes back to even with, the trade with Khalil Mack. He traded him to the Chargers. He didn't trade him to like the freaking worst team in the NFL that was willing to give him a first round pick. He traded.
And let's be honest, what is Khalil Mack doing right now?
Really nothing, because that Chargers team is inconsistent.
Exactly. So it's not like we're, and keep in mind the last couple of years that Mack was with us, he was either hurt or ineffective, making, what, 20 to 30 million a year. I mean, from a GM standpoint, what do you do? What do you do? Break it all down and build it back up.
Yep.
Break it all down and build it back up. And I'm sorry, Roquan Smith, yeah, he got a lot of tackles. What else did he get? I know I'm sounding like I don't know football, but yeah, he got a lot of tackles. But did he call defense that put everybody else in a position to be able to succeed? I'm sorry, against that Dallas game, it just didn't happen. Everybody was off. Everybody. And for me, as your middle linebacker and the lead of your defense, he should have had them guys ready to play. And unfortunately, he couldn't do it or wouldn't do it for whatever reason. So yeah, trade him. Get him on out of here.
Yeah, and I think what some fans also fail to realize is Eberflus had to give the AOK on this too.
Correct.
So
correct.
If Eberflus said no, Ryan, I want him here, then Poles would have kept him. But
correct.
Eberflus gave the AOK, and that's the thing. And kind of, that's the thing overall. Like, what is this trade? All the trades of the players. This is just building towards what we hope Ryan Poles is building for, and that's building something for Justin Fields. We're not building around an off-the-ball linebacker who plays the will backer position in Eberflus's defense.
Correct.
No. And for once, I'm like happy the Bears seemingly they're finally understanding we can't freaking win on the side of the defensive side of the ball no more. That's times have changed. This isn't the 1990s or the early 2000s. This
Correct.
is 2010s, now 2020 areas where guess what? It doesn't matter how good of a freaking defense you may have. Offenses are still finding ways to score because they have really good quarterback play. And then again, offensive play calling is probably at its peak right now.
Correct.
So what's the number one thing? And we've been seeing the last few games. Give Justin Fields an offensive line, give him some talented receivers, especially if you're talking about that Dallas
Correct.
Cowboys game, especially the receiver department, and then the other games regarding, or really every game regarding the offensive line. Give this guy some talent to work with. He can be pretty good. And again, yes, he has his faults. Sometimes he holds the ball on too long. Sometimes he does this, but every quarterback has their individual faults. Patrick Mahomes is another guy who always likes to hold the ball on too long. But here's one difference: he actually got an offensive line to block, and he's got some
Correct.
really competent, if not really great, receivers in
Correct.
Kansas City. I don't want to compare situations, but give this guy some help. And I think the plan is that Ryan Poles sees this vision. I think, if anything, this kind of also shuts up this little crowd saying, oh, he doesn't trust Justin. Justin is more than likely going to be gone next year because they're going to probably draft a quarterback. I think, if anything, this refutes the point that no, they really do trust Justin. They see what they have in here, and they say, like, this guy could be a really good quarterback. We just got to give him some help.
Well,
Go
for
ahead.
me, with Justin Fields, he's not gone next year. I mean, he'll be in the third year. He'll be in the third year of his rookie deal. So we got another 3 years with Justin Fields after this season.
Yep.
So I mean, we have so basically our clock is 3 years.
Yep.
Because if we can develop Justin Fields into the kind of team that Ryan Poles hopefully can do, then we have 3 years at that particular moment. Then we're in that area. Whereas, you know what, we got to think about what to do with Fields,
Yep.
as far as signing him to a deal. So, and now I will say this: although I like the trades, I like the accumulation of the 9 picks, I like getting rid of bad contracts. The ball is now in Ryan Poles' court.
Yep.
He has got to hit on these draft picks. He has got to hit on these free agents he plans to sign.
Yep.
He has got to make sure that, amidst all of these people that are saying, Ryan Poles, we hate you. You traded away Roquan Smith. He was only 24 years old. Whatever. All those naysayers, he has got to hit on those draft picks, and he's got to hit on those free agent signings. That's basically what it boils down to.
Yep. And you can look at this last draft class, for example. Pretty much all the picks that are relevant for this team, like AKA Kyler Gordon, Braxton Jones, Jaquan Brisker, they're hitting good. One of the impact ones was supposed to be Velus Jones Jr., and right now he needs to figure out how not to be Butterfingers. But that's
Correct.
I said in my game recap on Wednesday on Sunday.
Mhm.
Right now, I think Velus Jones Jr. is a bust with what
We never liked him. We didn't like him
Yep.
when he was drafted.
Yeah.
We could have got him. We could have got him in the 6th, 7th round, and he could have just and we wouldn't have said a word.
Yeah.
But at the pick we got him, what was it? Pickens was available.
Pickens, Pickens, and that one Cincinnati receiver who the Colts have were
Exactly.
still available.
So I mean, just like, so but he had a vision for Pickens. He had a vision for Velus Jones. I don't know exactly what it was. Looking at it right now, whether it be it must have been special teams.
Yeah.
But must have been, because he blew a gasket there, But when it's all said and done, yes, and first of all, we all knew coming into this season, anybody who expected the Bears to be leading the division or trying to win this division this year, to me, that thinking was totally irresponsible.
Yeah. I still hear podcasts saying, like, we're just there. We're just there, with the division and the fluxes. And I'm like, no, that was never the goal to win the division.
This was never the goal to win the division. What the goal was again, goal of the season. Let's see if we can develop some draft capital, and let's increase our salary cap strength. And right now the Bears have done that. They've done that with now 9 draft picks.
Who knows? And remember, today is the end of the trade deadline at a certain time, so there potentially could be more Bears on the loose.
Correct. 9 draft picks. And we talked about this, we talked about this off book yesterday. Whereas though that salary cap, I can tell you right now, and I totally agree with you. Offensive line, defensive line.
Yep.
Let's
That's
go ahead and get experienced offensive linemen. Let's book. We need a left tackle. We need a right tackle. I mean, right now, Tevin Jenkins is our best offensive lineman, but we can't put him everywhere.
Yep.
We need everything on that offensive line. Braxton Jones is good. He has had good moments. Good moments. Let's sign an experienced left tackle that he can learn under. Larry Bourne, don't get me started.
Yeah, Riley Reef actually played a pretty good game on Sunday.
Yeah. And I feel encouraged about the offense. In the last 2 weeks, man, we did, 33 and 29 points. So I mean, the offense has done well. The defense up until Dallas, or I'll say up until the Robert Quinn trade, has done well. So
yeah. And I think that's what Poles is gonna more than likely do. I think yes, he'll dabble some money into like other positions
correct.
For free agency, but I
Correct.
think Poles' plan is let's use majority of this free money in the trenches. Offensive line,
Correct.
there's gonna
Offensive
be
line.
there's gonna be several solid offensive linemen out there on the market.
Correct.
Elgton Jenkins, Luke Getsy knows him. Maybe that connection could try to bring him away from the Packers that right
Correct.
now they look like they're not going to be a good. And again, this also goes to the whole idea or the vision that Poles is really shaping because he sees this. He's looking at the division. The Packers, they're pretty much looking like they're on the downfall, even though they got Aaron Rodgers. But
oh no,
regardless,
I think this year is his last year. He does not look like he can do another year.
yeah.
He don't look it.
Yeah. The Lions, well, they're the Lions. They started off all hot and everything because they were putting up a lot of points, but at the end of the day, they're still 1-6.
Yep. And the Vikings, again, they got age on that team too. Everybody's creeping up in age, man, on the Vikings. Although they are leading the division, they are very successful. If you look at that, if you start looking at that roster, you got a lot of guys. If they're not over 30, they creeping up on 30. So the Bears are in a good position with these draft picks to get younger, stronger, bigger, and faster. And I like the direction that Ryan Poles is taking. I'm glad he did not sign Roquan Smith. Roquan obviously thinks just because he's a young cat and gets a lot of tackles and things like that. But to me, at that position, you got to be able to call a defense to put people in the position, put everybody in the position to win. And that game against Dallas, unfortunately, he just didn't do it. And if he had a bad game, like I had a conversation with someone earlier, well, he just had a bad game. A bad game that results in 49 points to the defense, that's not, to me, that's just not a bad day.
Yeah. And he was very inconsistent this year. He had only like maybe 1 or 2 games that he was really good. That was that Texans game and I believe that Patriots game, but other than that, he's been inconsistent.
He didn't have any great games again. He had great games against middle to below average teams, middle of the pack to below average teams. But when it came down to him to actually, the Packers, nowhere to be found.
Yep.
Just nowhere to be found. So it was just, Cowboys, enough said. And these teams and those 2 teams specifically came into, people were coming into the year talking about Green Bay Packers Super Bowl, and now they talking about Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl.
Yep. And he also got blown up by Carson Wentz.
Yeah. He got blown up by Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
In a game we lost 12-7, in which he didn't really do much that game either.
Yep.
So I'm sorry. A lot of people who love Roquan Smith, I get it. I really do. I understand. But man, when you're rebuilding, you don't dole out bad contracts. You just don't dole out bad contracts. And the best contracts are those 5-year rookie deals. And those are the ones that I believe that Poles want to dole out. If he's going to dole out some crazy money with this cap room that we have, I would prefer and I believe he will, offensive and defensive line, where the money, where the players, where the troop, where the games are won on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Poles going to use the money to build in the trenches and again spread it a little bit amongst like, other positions and everything.
Correct.
I definitely think he's going to use a good chunk of that money, not only in the offensive line, but especially the defensive line. He might use,
Defensive tackles, get those guys in the trenches to win the line of scrimmage. And
yep,
we've said it all, and I've said it a lot. We got these undersized defensive tackles that can't solidify the A gaps. Can't solidify them. Freaking Tony Pollard, a backup running back, comes in and looks like freaking Walter Payton.
yeah. I think he's definitely going to use that money to build within the trenches.
Yep.
Maybe he could use the first, the early picks because again, those second rounders are still high. Maybe he drafts a good defensive tackle. We'll
Maybe.
see.
Maybe.
You know,
Maybe.
the vision is there. I'm gonna trust the vision, and I'm just like, okay, this could be golden opportunity. But again, we made the mention. Ryan Poles has to do his job. He has to now that he's put everything in place, he's got to do his job
Yep.
by this time next offseason because this is going to be the
Yep.
biggest offseason so far
Yep.
in his young career as a GM. Because if he doesn't show the results, he doesn't get the help, and he doesn't, fix everything. And I know he can't fix everything in one off season. This past off season was an example. I know he's not going to address everything. He's going to try to address all the issues as best he can, but there will still be that lingering issue that, hey, that's just going to be there, and he'll have to improve it either throughout the season next year or maybe the next following off season. But when the Bears season's over, everybody's going to be looking at him and be like, okay, dude, let's see what you're doing now.
Yep.
That kind of thing. Before we get out of here, there has been rumors of certain other players potentially being traded. I know they've made the mention of David Montgomery potentially could be a trade asset. Eddie Jackson could be one. Now, the reason why I'm kind of like, I don't think Eddie Jackson is going to be traded because just yesterday, Eberflus named him a permanent captain.
Yeah, so I agree. I agree.
It would make no sense. Why
I'm
name him?
I'm not really crazy about Eddie Jackson, especially since Eberflus pretty much revitalized, his career after, Montgomery, on the other hand, that's another one I would trade. Again, coming off your rookie deal, he's got history of injury over the last couple of years. He's a running back in an up-tempo league, and we can always get another running back. We always can. So I honestly think that there's no point in doling out, let's just say $8 million a year to Montgomery. I don't believe so.
Who knows? I feel if they resign Montgomery, I think they like the leadership assets of him, and that's not bad. That's not bad. I like Montgomery.
Well, it depends on what the receipts coming out to be. I mean, if we're talking, $8, $9, $10 million a year, I mean, man, come on now. How many players do you think the Bears can get for 8, 9, 10 million at the running back position? I mean, quite a bit. Roquan Smith, he wanted 20 million. How many players do you think we could have brought in, effective players for $20 million in 1 year? So, I mean, those are the kind of things that a lot of people, they just don't sit up here and think about. I like this one guy. Okay, great. This one guy is good. Roquan was good. Was he Mike Singletary good? No. Believe it or not, was he Brian Urlacher good? No. Brian Urlacher could call a defense. No, it doesn't matter if you like him or not, it doesn't matter. Brian Urlacher could call a defense. Okay. So it just, people don't think about the finances. They just think, hey, this is just, the McCaskies and being cheap and all this other kind of stuff. But I don't see that in Ryan Poles, man. I see this guy I don't see it. I just don't see it. So, but at the same time, you and I give him a chance and let's see what happens, man. I mean, I gotta admit, just think about it. Brisker, great pick. I mean, Kyler Gordon started off pretty bad, but Eberflus is starting to put his finger on him and he's starting to look good. Kendall Vildor, he had a bad game against Dallas. Now, that's me. He had a bad game.
I agree.
Bad game. But the defenses that were called by Roquan Smith were not the right defenses. So, but I think all in all, the future is bright. We got 3 years, and I think Ryan Poles can do it within that time before we have to sign Justin Fields to $50 million a year.
Yeah, yeah, that's the name of the game for the NFL as of late. So yeah.
Win the Super Bowl while your quarterback is on that rookie deal. Because I can tell you, um, Josh Allen, Buffalo gonna have an issue soon with Josh Allen's contract. Kansas City is having an issue with Mahomes' contract. I mean, look, they had to let go Tyreek Hill and sign all these,
Yeah, but
contracts for wide receivers. They still got Travis Kelce. They did sign him, but it did hurt them for a couple of years after he got that big money. So Russell Wilson, it definitely did Seattle in, So the time to win is when that quarterback is on that rookie deal.
yeah,
And I agree. We got this year, we got 3 more years with Justin Fields under his rookie deal. And I think that's why he want to hurry up and go ahead and rebuild now. Because when, what was it? Be 23, 24, 25 after the 25, 26 season. That's when the Bears is gonna be like, oh heck, we gotta sign Justin Fields to 40, $50 million a year. If we don't, the fans are gonna kill us.
yeah. But again, you have to do that. You have to do
That's
it.
the nature of the beast. You're right.
Yep.
Nature of the beast.
If you want to be a really good team, you
Yep.
got to do what you got to do, and you got to pay some
Get these guys on these rookie deals, get some veterans on the line so you can win in line of scrimmage, So,
Yeah,
but the key is to try to win while you have the cap flexibility. And most NFL teams have said flexibility when the quarterback is on that rookie deal.
yeah, yeah. Only other thing I could say is Ryan Poles is showing the type of GM he is, showing that he's pretty much a cutthroat guy. He
Yep.
doesn't really care about
Yep.
yada yada yada.
Yep.
See, I think that's the whole issue where Roquan messed up. He thought Ryan Poles would be similar in Ryan Pace. Yes, they have the same first names, but they have different last names. Ryan
Correct.
Pace, if he was still here, he would have suckered up and he would have given Roquan
You would
Smith.
have gave Roquan that money.
But Ryan Poles
Gave
is like,
Roquan that money. He would not have traded Khalil Mack.
yep.
He would not have traded Quinn, and we would have had all this overpriced, underperforming talent based on their contracts. And then we still would have been doing the same thing, screaming and hollering for someone to be able to come in. And Ryan Pace would not have hired Eberflus or Brian Dabble. He would have kept Nagy there. Just
Yeah.
And you would perpetuate the cycle of incompetence and losing.
Yep. So yeah, I do appreciate that Ryan Poles. Well, he's not a guy that's willing to be your best friend. At the end of the day, he understands this is a business and I gotta save my
Yep.
job. So if you guys are not doing your jobs, but
Correct.
that's the thing. So that's on our thoughts. It's funny because we started to run out of some time on our Zoom call, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Good enough. If there's any other trades that break down with the Bears, whether the Bears get a asset, which in this Roquan Smith trade, they not only got the draft picks, but they also got a linebacker in return, which was AJ Klein. He's kind of been a journeyman all across the league. He'll probably be here. Maybe he'll fill in the place unless Jack Sanborn comes in and just takes a spot, but we'll see. We'll see. It doesn't really matter. He's just on a 1-year deal, so by the time the season's over,
man,
he's gone.
It's a full rebuild. It's a full rebuild. And like I say, right now, I think everybody for the most part is safe, except David Montgomery.
Yeah. And it's gonna be interesting. It'll be shocking to see if there's any other players that cry on the podium.
Correct.
Jalen Johnson did do a radio interview, and he was like, "Well, I understand. It's just business.
It's business. That's the way it is. And
So,
if you understand that as a player, that's how the GM thinks, you'll do your best as a player to make sure that you can at least keep earning your salary with the team you're on.
yep.
Yep.
So, yep, that's the video that we decided to make today. So again, if you want more of my reactionary thoughts, go check out the video I made yesterday. But now it's after sleeping on it. I'm kind of more composed. I'm still fine with the trade. Again, I don't know why there's some Bear fans that are just upset about it, but hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. If they're upset about it, hey, okay. Again, good luck to Roquan Smith with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
I think he's gonna
Yep.
do pretty good there. Now, I said in my yesterday's video, only issue is what are they gonna do? You would think they would resign him, but then again, they got another self-employed player in Lamar Jackson. And I said if they pay Roquan first, how is that gonna make Lamar Jackson feel?
Well, I gotta admit, I know we have limited time, but I gotta admit, you signed Roquan Smith and he just got there over a quarter that's been there, man.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy.
So,
Personally, I don't think Baltimore gonna sign him anyway.
mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna let Lamar Jackson walk.
Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna let him walk.
Wow.
But
That's
that's a video for another day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, we're gonna get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week or on this video and your thoughts on Roquan. Do you still hate it? Or do you still like the trade and everything? And what are your thoughts on Ryan Poole's vision? As well as hit the subscribe button to Camp 15 Talk Sports. You want to get more sports content. I talk Bears and Los Angeles Clippers, which that video will be out later today. About their win against the Rockets. And I address not only my thoughts on the win, but address some of the issues that need to be fixed on this team if they want to ever win a championship. And it's not just this whole Kawhi factor. It's just other players on the team right now are just not doing it, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing.
Yep.
And then again, we'll probably have a World Series recap based on that. The World Series, it got postponed. Game 3 got postponed yesterday, so Game 4 is tonight. So I guess I'll be watching that tonight.
Yeah.
And other stuff like that. But look forward to Bears versus Miami Dolphins game recap. We'll also look to have our NFL predictions this week. So yeah. Other than that, have a great rest of your day.
9 draft picks and over 120 million in cap room. Thank you, Ryan Poles.
Yep. It might get worse on Sunday. But
yeah, you think 49 against Dallas was bad. I mean, wait till them brothers from Alabama get their heels dug in against this defense without Roquan now. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yep. Yeah. So
Tyreek Hill is probably just like
yeah. But we'll be back sometime later this week to give our NFL predictions on that and then the other games this week, since we kind of been slacking on recaps and predictions, but it is what it is. But anyways, guys, catch you guys in the next video. Leave a like if you like the video, and then hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Camp for 15 content on the channel. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Later.